What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new football video where we will talk about Gary Neville and what he said about the Premier League and Liverpool's title hopes and title dreams. And it's a very interesting opinion of Gary Neville. I respect him a lot as a pundit. I really hated him as a Man United player, and I think he hated Liverpool, and he probably hates Liverpool right now, but he as a pundit is a very sensible man, and he also did a very interesting, very big gesture towards helping the NHS in Liverpool and Manchester and in England basically. So we will talk about that. We will talk about why Liverpool fans are praising Gary Neville even, and the very many other very interesting stories in this video. So guys, if you enjoy these types of videos, please leave a like. And Gary Neville says that the Premier League should give the title to Liverpool, but on one condition. Of course, he says this with a tongue-in-cheek that if the Premier League can't complete this season, he wants Liverpool to get the title, but only because there will always be an asterisk next to this Premier League title. And now Gary Neville could always say, and he could always wind up Liverpool fans, that the season wasn't completed, Liverpool didn't finish the job. So that's why basically Gary Neville wants the Premier League to hand Liverpool the title. But I think that both JB Carragher and Neville agreed that they both wanted the Premier League season to be finished. And I think even if next season will be shorter, it's an absolute utmost priority for the Premier League to want to finish the season. And I think they will finish the season whenever that it is safe to do so. And Gary Neville, of course, teased JB Carragher, saying he's a little bit twitchy over the last few days on our messages. I say, give Liverpool the league, and then I keep sending the little asterisk sign, a little note next to it. Liverpool won the league, but didn't finish the job. It would be an absolute doomsday scenario, according to Gary Neville, for football. At the end of the day, football doesn't matter at this moment in time, but it would have to be a doomsday scenario for football not to finish the existing fixtures for this season. I don't see how essentially you can shift and get on with next season without finishing this season's fixtures, whenever that will be, because of the relegation and the promotion to the Premier League. Also, the Champions League places need to be decided. I think the only thing clear in the Premier League is who wins the title, and everything else is very in the balance, very up in the air. And you have to finish the season, even if you have to wait until autumn or even winter to finish the season. Hopefully that will not be the case. Hopefully with warmer weather the situation will get better, and with social distancing hopefully the situation will get a lot better and we can finish the season in the summer, or at least in August, September, October. I still think that they can make it work next season. Maybe remove some competitions, maybe have less games in the Premier League, less games in the Champions League, maybe remove the Nations League just for 1 year, and just delete some international weekends and put league games in those weekends so the Premier League can be completed. But I think this season has to be finished for many reasons. And also Gary Neville had a very interesting suggestion. What about a festival of football to finish the season? Which is a suggestion I had never heard anybody else talk about this. The last thing I'm worried about is sorting out the fixtures, Gary Neville said. If football players need to play every day for 9 days to finish the Premier League as quickly as possible, as a worst case scenario, just to start next season in time, they would do it because they would get their heads around it and make it basically a festival of football. It would be something spectacular. Football can bring some hope and joy to the country in England, and when we can finally come out of this crisis, doing a festival of football where the league is finished in 2 weeks, the Champions League gets finished in a week, and the FA Cup is finished in 4 days, could be something quite special. I'm not saying they are the examples that should be followed, but there could be something quite spectacular about football fans coming together after this crisis is over. It would bring some joy back to the nation, as football does impact so many people. What do you think about this suggestion? I don't think it's feasible, because the crisis won't be over this year. It will be slower, it will be a much better situation, but it certainly won't be like completely over. So you still have to be cautious about playing games, and about, of course, the football fans attending the games. So there should be still some precautions implemented. And Gary Neville also said, the least of my worries are the calendar, as once the crisis is over, I think footballers, the authorities, the associations will want to play as many matches as physically possible in a week, a month, or a 3-month period to get everything back on track. If you think about the Christmas period, clubs play 4 games in 8 days. When we were going to win the Premier League with Manchester United, we had a backlog of fixtures due to FA Cup, and we played 4 games in a week. It is possible over a 6 or an 8-week period that there might be 4 games a week. I'm not concerned about squeezing more games in. Players, clubs, managers and physios will understand that you can't complain about fixture congestion next season due to the circumstances. It's a global situation and football has to react and compromise. Jamie Carragher also said this: nothing is more important than the health and the safety of everyone, but I don't think we should hide away from how much football means to us and how important it is in people's lives, not just Liverpool supporters, but everyone right up and down the country and all over Europe. It doesn't bother me when football starts again. I just feel that so much has been put into this season by so many people. I don't know how you can stop it. And he's right. Both financially and effort-wise, and everybody puts so much into this season. And not just Liverpool, but every club, every fan, all over the world who watched their team, who supported their team. It has to be finished, it has to be concluded. Otherwise, how do you start next season? And Jamie Carragher also said this: the smallest concern is actually Liverpool, because everything else is up in the air. We all know that Liverpool are going to win the league this season. They only need to win 1 or 2 games. But if the league stops, it just doesn't feel right. Yes, Liverpool may be given the league, that's what people are saying, but there will always be something there that just doesn't feel quite right about it. But that's not going to affect Liverpool economically or what division they are in. Teams are going out of the Premier League really struggle to get back into the Premier League, so that could affect them for 4 or 5 years. If Leeds don't get up this season, for example, that could stop them for 4 or 5 years getting promoted, and maybe they will lose their manager as well. Who knows? That's why I say Liverpool isn't the most important thing in this Premier League season. It's the teams who are going to lose huge sums of money in completely different divisions. So this season has to finish because it impacts next season because of European places and Champions League places and so on. Whenever the date is that we get back to playing football, it needs to be finished. Then we have to be creative with next season. And also Jamie Carragher said that he's really hoping, and I fully agree with this, he's really hoping that UEFA are already thinking about different scenarios and thinking about different plans for next season, because I'm almost 100% certain that next season won't be able to start at the beginning of August in the Premier League, because there is no way you can finish the whole season. I mean, Manchester City still have like 9 games or something like that to play in the Premier League, or maybe even 10 games, but also they have Champions League games, they have FA Cup games. Let's look at Italy. The situation is even worse in Italy than it is in England, and the Serie A still has 14 games to go. Plus, for example, Inter still are in the Europa League as well, so they have a lot of, they almost could play another 20 games just to finish this season. How could you do that in like 2 months? You can't play 20 games in 2 months, or like one month and a half. So it's going to be a very, very interesting how different leagues can complete their season in time. And Gary Neville also was very, very critical of the Premier League and the fact that the Premier League was reactive instead of proactive in this situation. The Premier League only cancelled the whole weekend fixtures because Mikel Arteta and then Callum Hudson-Odoi tested positive. If that wouldn't happen, the Premier League would have sent about 1 million people into football stadiums all over England across the weekend, and it would have been responsible for the situation getting a lot worse in the UK. And you could already see with the numbers going up each day that the situation is already very, very serious and very critical. I mean, 6,000 new people got a positive diagnosis in Italy, and 630 people died just in one day, just today. And it's going up, it's getting worse. And it will probably get a lot worse in England as well before it gets better. So stay safe, guys, stay at home and just do everything that is medically recommended to you guys. So this is what Gary Neville said. That's why I was critical of the Premier League 10 days ago. The idea that they were willing to put 1 million people into football stadiums for a Premier League weekend, and just they thought they can just wing it and get away with it, was reckless. I feel when the Mikel Arteta situation was announced on that Thursday evening and they essentially ended up with reactive leadership, they were made to look foolish, in my opinion. And Jamie Carragher has claimed that the Premier League is not at fault because they were just following the government's advice. So it was actually the British government at fault for this, and I kind of agree with this because all the other leagues also followed their government's advice. So the Serie A got suspended because the government, the Italian government recommended it. The La Liga, the Spanish league, got suspended because the Spanish government recommended it. But Carragher said, isn't that the biggest problem, that they are getting led from the government and the leadership coming from the government was not right? What did you actually want the Premier League to do there in that situation? And Neville replied, right, we have seen the guy who represents the government speaking, to be fair, and the messaging was all over the place. Before this week, the messaging was very inconsistent, both from the British government and also previously from the United States government as well. And it's quite sad to see that first it wasn't taken as seriously as it should have been. Boris Johnson was joking previously that he went into a hospital where there were a lot of patients and he was shaking everybody's hands. And that's like the worst leadership that you could ever do, because that's exactly what you cannot do in this situation. That's exactly what you need to avoid at all costs, to touch other people and to get into close contact. So it was just absolutely incredible. And if this was a movie and you saw this movie, you would feel that in real life this wouldn't happen. It was like watching a bad movie, a badly written movie, because you thought in real life the leader of the British government, the leader of the United States of America, one of the richest nations in the world, wouldn't be this dumb and this foolish to say things that they said previously. And it's absolutely mind-blowing to me, actually, that I saw things said by these people in the position of power, in the position of leadership. It's incredible, it's ridiculous. And Gary Neville said, I think if football is going to take their steer from Boris Johnson, then I've got no faith in football. I accept it's unprecedented times, and I accept the difficulties they have got, but I would expect decisive leadership which puts health of supporters, football players and their staff first. And even Liverpool fans have praised Gary Neville, because Gary Neville has been actually pledging his hotel's staff to actually help NHS workers. What he did was he closed his restaurant and his hotel, which is, I think, the opposite side of Old Trafford in Manchester, and he actually offered a helping hand to the NHS. And he also assured his employees that there will be nobody fired from jobs, and will be away on paid leave, which is very, very commendable. And he also offered beds to NHS workers who are fighting tirelessly to treat patients. And Liverpool fans actually praised Gary Neville. One Liverpool fan said, wonderful way to react to the crisis. As a Liverpool fan, I'm happy to say we need more Gary Nevilles. Still being a captain in this situation, you will never walk alone. Another Liverpool fan wrote, first Liverpool's 30-year wait is extended for the title and now I like Gary Neville. Well, can this get any worse? That's hilarious. I love that. And yeah, more people who have massive amounts of money, massive amounts of wealth should behave more like Gary Neville. They should really try and come together as a society, and the rich people should really help out as much as they can in this situation. But you don't see many people doing favors like this. You don't see many other people with money to be actually this helpful and this selfless like Gary Neville. He basically offered a lot of beds to NHS workers in these trying times. So I fully respect him, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Lots of videos coming over the weekend, so stay tuned. See you later, guys. Goodbye.